Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm Jayadi if you're new here, and thank you so much for clicking on the fourth episode of A Brown Girl's Guide, because today I'm going to be touching on a subject that is more relevant now than ever before, and it's something that's been going on for a really long time but starting to get talked about more often now in today's day and age. Before I dive into what we're going to be speaking about today, I just want to say, how is everyone going? Please let me know in the comments down below and let's talk about it, because I would love to know. Also, if you guys can see, I'm wearing green and I have some pink going on with my nails and this mic, which is giving very Wicked vibes. So if you watched the new Wicked movie, definitely let me know in the comments down below as well, guys. I love musicals so much, and I think I went like the second day that it came out. Absolutely loved it. I think the actors did such an amazing job and I can't wait to see part 2. On the fourth episode, I really wanted to touch on the concept of mental health and a brown girl's guide to mental health, because for no reason this has become such a taboo topic, which should never be the case. I think mental health is such a priority for every single person, whether you're girl, guy, whoever you are. Prioritizing your mental health, making sure you're okay, making sure that you're taking care of yourself is probably the most essential aspect of life. When you're doing okay, other things in your life go okay as a result of that. And your inner peace, how you're feeling deep down, it truly dictates how you carry your life every single day. So like always, there are 4 main topics that I really want to dive into today. Firstly being the stigma around mental health, especially in the brown community. Secondly, how we can be having emotional conversations about mental health in South Asian households. The third topic is going to dive into cultural pressures and how you can be taking care of yourself. Finally, we will end it off with a discussion on depression and the guilt that brown girls or people of culture feel around depression as well. As you can see, all of these topics are extremely interlinked with one another, and of course there is so much more to be said about these things. So if you agree with me or disagree with me, definitely have a discussion in the comments down below as you watch this video, and share your perspectives as well, because the more we talk about topics like this, the more normalized they become. I feel like we can all help each other out as we go along. Make sure to like this video and to subscribe right now if you want to keep seeing more content like this. And with that, let's get straight into it. So the first thing we're going to talk about today is the stigma around mental health and why it really does exist, especially in brown or South Asian communities. This is a really serious topic that is quite often overlooked, and it is sad to think that in a brown South Asian household, to be able to openly talk about mental health is actually a privilege, when that should never be a thing. It should actually just be so normalized that people can open up about it without upsetting other people in their household or upsetting people in their community. That is exactly how normalized this topic needs to become. When I was thinking about why there is such a stigma around mental health for our culture, I realized that often speaking of things like depression, anxiety, can give the impression to your community or your loved ones that you are lazy, you're disinterested, you're unmotivated, and you have no purpose in life, which is quite the opposite of what mental health issues are about. Because I just want to start off by saying that your mental health does not define how motivated you are, how purposeful you are in life, how intentional you are with everyday things. I know that every single person out there is never intending to be unmotivated or feeling sad all the time. Why would somebody want to truly project those feelings onto themselves on purpose? These feelings are like chemicals in your brains. It's something that can't be controlled. Sometimes mental health issues can be passed down genetically as well, which is really sad to think that maybe your parents or ancestors didn't get the acknowledgement and awareness that they deserved, and now they feel like they have to pass down those same learnings onto you. Just remember that regardless of whatever's going on in your community or household, the stigma has the possibility to end with you as well. You don't have to carry those same values down to your future generations, and there are ways to help yourself along the way as well. I know when you're going through a bad mental health spiral, it can cause a lot of ripple effects into your relationships, into your career, into your sense of self yourself. Those periods of time where you're feeling extremely depressed or anxious or anything like that, there are ways out there to make it through it and to fight your inner demons, because I know that every single person out there is just trying their best every single day. If you're ever feeling like you're in a really bad place, please reach out to people around you. In this first topic around the stigma of mental health, I just want to make sure that I'm validating every single person's feelings out there, because how you feel is completely real, it's valid, it's raw, it's human. If you need help, then that is okay. It doesn't make you weak, it doesn't make you lazy, it doesn't make you a bad person by any means. It just makes you the most human that you can be, and your vulnerability, making it through these vulnerable situations, can actually be your superpower at the end of the day. Speaking of having these important conversations, I really want to touch on the next topic, being how can these emotional conversations actually be had, especially in brown households or communities. Because of the stigma around it, it is so difficult to bring these things up, and oftentimes we're so much in our heads about how do we reach out to people, how do we tell them that we're not doing okay if something's upsetting you, or even worse, if you're going through a period of depression. In those times, it is so important to know that you are not alone, but oftentimes if we don't have the right support system around us, it can feel so lonely, so isolating, and you feel like you're living in these dark thoughts. But truly, life does not have to be like that. Here are some ways you can approach these difficult conversations with people around you who might be emotionally unavailable to you. First tip I want to give is to actually just wait for the right time. I know that sometimes there can be tensions in households or communities. Inner tension or inner conflict can either be contributing to how you're feeling, or just feels like whatever you're going through outside of that even is not being validated by the people around you. I completely understand that things like depression, anxiety, or mental health issues don't come knocking with a sense of time. This is something that comes to you repeatedly and you feel like there's some kind of pattern around it. You don't know how to reach out to the people around you. Wait for when they are actually in a positive and loving mood. I think that can really set the tone of how the conversation can go. When there is a sense of tension or conflict, it is best not to bring these topics up, because a lot of times people around you might be just thinking about themselves, and as selfish as that can be, that is also extremely human of them. But make sure that you're approaching people around you at a time where they seem more emotionally available to you. That is the best way to getting through to them. Also, that ensures that you're going in with a clear head about what it is that has truly been getting to you and what's been eating away at you. Is something in your life giving you anxiety? Is a situation giving you anxiety or depression, or causing a lot of mental strain on you? Because it is important to know what it is in your life or your circumstances that are actually hurting you and that's not the best for you. That way you know exactly what you clearly need to communicate. Some tools for that can be actually journaling. I know it's a cliche, guys, but journaling is truly therapeutic for a reason. When you write down these thoughts and be honest with yourself before being honest with the people around you, then you go in with so much more clarity for emotional conversations. You know exactly what it is that's getting to you, and that is the first step to helping yourself. Once you've gotten a clear mind about what it is that is affecting you in your life, don't be afraid to have conversations with yourself. I know this sounds a little bit crazy, but sometimes even looking at yourself in the mirror and being honest with yourself, having a conversation with yourself, can be a great practice round with how you're going to converse with the people around you. This helps you bring up your own confidence, it helps you with reassurance in your own self, and once you know that you have your own back, that is truly the first and only thing you need in life. First thing to do is to actually develop an I mindset. To give a key example of it, if you're doing like a course at uni that you really don't love, you're not passionate about it, you feel like your marks are going down, you're not in love with what you're doing, and you can't envision a future career in it, you really want to get out of this situation, instead of maybe going to your parents, grandparents, relatives, whoever it is, instead of going to them and saying like, hey, I don't want to do this uni course, it's not for me, I'm going to drop it, uni sucks. Instead of having that blame game attitude, the first thing to do is shift your own perspective, because it might not even be the uni course that sucks. It might just be that it's not aligned for you and that you have a bigger purpose in your life. Go to your loved ones and tell them, hey, I've been feeling so overwhelmed lately, I feel so anxious when I have exams, I try to study but my head doesn't seem to wrap around these concepts because maybe they're too analytical for me. Inside I'm a creative creative soul. Once you develop that I mindset and explain to your loved ones how something is affecting you personally, they are more likely to understand, because at the end of the day, people around you love you, and if somebody doesn't truly love you or support your happiness, then that's fine. They don't deserve your energy and they don't deserve your time of day. But if somebody truly loves you and you open up to them about your personal struggles rather than blaming the environment around you, they're way more likely to empathize with you and to understand you, try to help you overcome that situation. But that being said, I completely understand that even out of love, sometimes your parents, your relatives, your community might not react how you want them to. It is so sad to think that in Brown and South Asian households, vulnerability is actually extremely rare. And like I was saying before, your vulnerability is your superpower, guys. Don't let other people's response affect the way you validate yourself, because your feelings are there for a reason. They exist for a reason. You don't create your feelings out of thin air. You have to stick with your intuition. You have to know your sense of self, and that is why talking to yourself, journaling, and spending time with yourself comes in handy, because you know that you are so sure of yourself, your decisions, or how something is impacting you. You know yourself inside out, and if you share your vulnerability, people aren't reacting to it the way you want them to. Just remember that is so external to you, you guys, and if they don't understand, somebody out there will. Just don't give up. Don't give up on your vulnerability. Don't stop sharing your message that you want to convey. I feel like the more you reiterate your vulnerability, the more likely it is that you will get through to somebody in your household, your community, because at the end of the day, we're all humans and we empathize with each other. However, in the circumstance that you're still not able to get through to the people around you, that's when seeking therapy or counseling is extremely crucial. There's tools such as Kids Helpline, Beyond Blue, so many more that actually have counselors that you can call for free. You can talk to them about how you're feeling. Personally, I have called Kids Helpline, especially when I was in high school, and it really did help me, because there were times where I used to feel lonely or feel like I didn't have anybody around me, and truly they actually help you. They're counselors for a reason. Also, a lot of workplaces nowadays are prioritizing mental health, and they actually have counseling services within workplaces. It's important if you reach out to your HR, your managers, whoever it is, they will actually guide you to the right resources for counseling and therapy, because your workplace also knows that if your mental health is doing well, everything else in your life is going to be going well too. If anybody out there has more tips on how people can be having these emotional, raw conversations in South Asian households, then please let us know in the comments down below as well, and we can all help each other through it. The third topic I'm going to talk about today is cultural pressures and prioritizing self-care. As brown girls, brown guys, or whoever can relate to it, we know that cultural pressure can be a lot, whether it's academics, whether it's having a specific career path, and for some people, whether it is things like marriage as well. To be successful in all of these aspects of your life is a huge sense of pressure within our culture, and I feel like that whole narrative needs to change so much. Like I always say, you guys, as long as you're content with your life and you've found your inner peace, that is really all you need to measure your sense of success, because I can guarantee you not everybody in life will have that, and if you have that, then you're already ahead of the people around you. When it comes to these kinds of pressures, often it feels wrong to prioritize self-care. You feel like you constantly need to be busy, productive, efficient, and achieving something in life in order to be doing well. That is not the definition of doing well, you guys. Doing well is knowing that you're feeling good inside and out. And self-care doesn't just mean putting on a face mask and doing your skincare. Of course, those things count as well, because it's great to have those kinds of routines that you do for yourself that make you feel good about yourself. But self-care is even things like setting boundaries. If there are people around you who make you feel bad for doing something that you love or you're passionate about, it's important to set boundaries with them and know that their voice, their perspective on what makes you happy does not matter. Because if you're happy, you're content with your life, that is the true definition of success. Whether it's limiting conversation with these people who bring you down, or if there are people around you who are bringing a false sense of competitiveness, always comparing you to others, and just making you feel like you're never enough, if you're able to block out those people from your life, because that kind of negative energy is never going to serve you well. And at the end of the day, you have to put yourself first. I really recommend picking up hobbies that have nothing to do with career path, marriage, success, academics, anything like that, but doing a hobby that just makes you happy. It could be an hour or two a week that you do just because it helps you feel lighter, it helps you feel better about yourself, whether it is going to the gym that you love or yoga classes, taking a dance class, taking music lessons, something that will just help you channel your inner self and give you a break from your everyday life. Last topic for today is probably the most sensitive of all because we're going to be touching on depression, and it's actually so serious that I think pretty much most people in life go through, whether it is an episode of depression, seasonal depression, or depression like something that you go through every single day of your life. Just know that you're not being judged because of it. Sometimes people who go through depression actually have a higher sense of emotional intelligence, and like I've been reiterating throughout this video, your vulnerability is your superpower. Don't ever feel like having depression is something that's going to bring you down in life. It means you're going through these struggles because one day you're going to help other people overcome them as well. I really just want to say I'm not a psychologist or anything, so if you're truly going through depression, it is so important to book a psychologist appointment, go to therapy and get better, because just know that you are so needed in life. If you're going through depressive episodes, just know that they're episodes and they're going to get better. I know that life can sometimes throw us the highest of highs and the lowest of lows, and if you're somebody who feels things deeply, something really happy can affect you so much, but something really sad can affect you so much harder as well. But make sure that if you feel like there is even one single person around you that will understand how you're feeling, you are not a burden on them. It is actually so crucial that you have this conversation with them, because you never know if it's like a particular situation, people around you could be going through the same thing, or if it's something that's extremely internal to you, share it with the person that you trust the most, because trust and bond is an indicator that somebody out there loves you and they need you in life, so they would rather have these conversations with you than lose you over it. In the brown South Asian community, it is so common for girls, guys, whoever you are, to feel a sense of guilt when you're putting yourself first and trying to help yourself get better. Once you make it through tough situations, learn to battle your depression, learn to keep it in control a little bit, then you're building this amazing superpower that's going to help others, and when somebody out there really needs you, you know that you can be there for them how you were there for yourself as well. Know that your depression doesn't make you unmotivated, lazy, or a bad person at all. If you're feeling depressed because of something, then it's not worth it having in your life. Cut that thing out. But if it's something that is unexplained, it's arising for no reason, having therapy, counseling, going to see a psychologist is all extremely important steps. Like you would go to the doctor when you're sick, if you're going through depression, it is important to see the right doctor who is a specialist in mental health. Just because you can't see the symptoms, that doesn't mean that it's not scarring you from the inside. You should never ever be guilty about going through depressive episodes, going through anxiety, or any other mental health issues. How you feel will always be valid. Alright guys, and that brings us to the end of the 4th episode, Brown Girl's Guide to Mental Health. I hope that this episode helps somebody out there, especially if you're going through a really tough time. I know that all of these things we talked about are just the tip of the iceberg, and I would love to make more parts of mental health as well, so consider this part 1, you guys. I would even consider things like doing interviews with psychologists or doing like a Q&A when it comes to mental health. So please, if you have any questions, then definitely put it in the comments down below. Make sure to like this video and to subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and share this with one person that you think can really benefit from the advice that we went through. I'm always a comment or message away, so don't be afraid to reach out to me, you guys. I would love to be your friend. I love you all. I'm so happy with the community that we're building, and I will see you guys next week with a new episode of Brown Girl's Guide. Bye everyone.